Hi everyone, my name is Wana and you are watching Culture Diaries. Now today on the show, my guest is a sculptor and one of Nigeria's most thrilling award-winning performance artists whose work is at the intersection of politics, climate change and social justice. His name is Jelili Atiku. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yes,
Thank you for coming here today.
Yeah.
You're always all over the place. So I feel like, I feel so proud that I was able to catch you.
Wow, I feel honored. I feel honored that I'm here.
I mean, they're not, when it comes to performance arts, you are somebody at the forefront. When you talk about that in Nigeria, your name comes up first. And a lot of people still have a lot of misconceptions about performance arts. And there's always this thing that it seems frivolous. You just wake up and just decide you want, have a crazy idea and do whatever it is, and then you call it art, so to speak. And you have a long process into creating a performance in itself. And I want you to sort of break down that process from, say, conceptualization to ideation to execution.
Yeah, first of all, let me try to talk about, the acceptance of performance in Nigeria. You agree with me that we are still battling with this, the colonial mentality, the colonial influence in us, and the post effect of it. Performance has been with us in Africa. It is part of our, it is most popular artistic practice in Africa. Look at the Gugun, for example. You say that is performance, it's pure performance. And so, but let me don't dwell into that, but let me now go into the process of my performance. First of all, I try to be sincere to myself. I try to be sincere to my own experience and to my feelings. And you will know or agree with me that myself as a person is influenced by my environment. I am a Yoruba person. I was born in Ejibo, very close to Ikeja here. And I grew up there. And so I am constantly in dialogue with my experience that has been dictated by my environment. And so that is the first process, which my own personal experience. And that lead me into the dialogue with the environment. And when I look at the environment and I feel like something I want to talk about, I have to, first of all, research into it deeply. The research could take a longer time. And because I am also in the process of self-decolonization, and so that makes me go deeper into the theme or the content or the context which I want to work with, So, and that's, after that, then I go into mainly the ascetic practice of it. I try into like the meditation part of it, which is like thinking. And in that thinking process, I try to define the forms that I want to use, the language that I want to use, the visual language, then that come into the colors, the forms, and all other things. Then now, sometimes I go into drawing of it, like put them down in drawing. Then I try now move into what kind of a movement do I have to? Because it has to, the performance is about life, it's about the body itself in space, walking. So I have to determine which forms, which space am I using, what is the costumes, what are the action, and all of that things.
Throughout history, if we even just go back into art history in itself, even performance was also a form of resistance within even the art space.
Yeah.
For a lot of people who were famous, performance artists. And I want to ask you about performance as your own form of resistance. And, because your work is very heavily political.
Yeah.
And you've performed in different countries around the world as well as Nigeria. And I want to know about that sort of, form of resistance with your artwork and how you use that to interrogate spaces.
Yeah. Again, I also go back to my personal experience itself. When you look at Nigeria, for example, our experience in Nigeria is totally being dictated by our political life. The politicians make laws that affect us, lightly, and they control our life. To me, to be sincere to myself, I must talk about it. Because that is what makes me to be human. I have to express myself. It's natural, for you to talk more about things that give you pains, things that give you hardship, that make you uncomfortable. When you see things that make you feel like, no, your art is going out of you. You have to talk about it. And so that's what makes me political. You know, the experience of Nigeria itself is enormous for ones to be focused on the political life. I was born, you know, I was born at in the Civil War era. My father was a soldier. You know, I grew up with the memory of not having a father. And that constantly reminds me of what is the cause of your father's death. Of course, my dad did not die in the war front, but the turmoil he has gone through in the war, perhaps part of those that make him to die. And so that gives me that pains. And when you look at the dialogue now, even the whole world itself, look at the Trump, look at the kind of utterances that come up, I feel afraid that suddenly the whole world will go into war, you know. So, and these are the things that make me, you know, constantly like have my torchlight, and I begin to throw the torchlight in some area that I need to talk about.
Again, I want to still go back to this idea of performance arts as in terms of the perception as high arts, and you know, all of those sorts of things as well. But you perform in Ejigbo. Yes. So it's not like you are a performance artist and you disappeared and you live in Ejigbo, you work, you perform in Ejigbo as well. Is there, because you have the option to just perform in different countries around the world where they might seem to be, it seems that, or they'll say that they understand this kind of work you're creating. Yeah. And I want you to sort of demystify that and why you perform in Ejigbo, how the people interact with the performance as well in that space.
Ejigbo is my home. I was born there, I grew up there. That is what my life is, you know. And like I said, I always, as much as possible, to be sincere to myself. It will be a kind of a pretend. If I assume to the world that I am living in a luxurious place and I want to do a performance in New York, and without starting from my home. My home, when I wake up this morning, I work from my home. I do all the things. So Ejigbo is my home. So all things that I do must start from there. And I don't believe in this class system where somebody is high, somebody is low. It is the social consciousness that placed somebody into that. And to me, that is a capitalist sense, which I try to, as much as possible, to remove from my life. My home is my home, you know. And no matter what I do, I have to start everything from there, because that is, when I wake up in the morning, that is the people that I see there first. You know, so and my people, I call them my people because they are part of me. I am part of them, you know. I have lived throughout my life there. I know when things get hot and what I need to do, what I don't need to do. So it becomes part of my life. And so dialoguing with them through my art is to me is a natural thing. It is something that we respond just like a dialogue. You're constantly dialoguing. And
do you ever worry if they understand it? How, well, how the work is resistance, or even speaking on behalf of them sometimes with their political situations?
I never get worried whether they understand or not, because it's a dialogue that continues. If they don't understand, each time they will see me, even when not performing, they ask questions that, we saw you doing this some times ago. What is the meaning of that? And I try as much as possible not to be a colonial master. I don't want to push my own view to them. First thing, that if they ask me a question, I said, please, what do you understand? You know, because I try to use imagery that are more local, that are more, you know, like are more like familiar to them. But of course, they most of the time may not understand that image is familiar to them. I'll give you an example. I did a performance in 2012 in Sweden. So when I came back to Nigeria, my cousin said, I begin to get too wild, they don't understand me. And I said, what you don't understand? I said, he saw the image of the performance I did in Sweden. And I said, okay. Then I asked him, I said, incidentally, he has a protruding teeth, you know. And that teeth was when we were playing what we call yeye. You know, he was the one, you know, yeye is like the contemporary youth masquerade, you know, where we have a sack and we put somebody there and we have like leaves on our body, and the person in the sack like moving, you know, with that. So when he was moving and that touched the sack and he fell down, and when he fell on his teeth. And I asked him, I said, do you remember that incident? He said, yes. I said, what he saw me doing was, redesign that costume. So then he now recognized that in his memory. I said, oh my God. He said, oh my God. I couldn't lick it up. I said, that is it. So I pick imagery from my memory, and I use also the collective memory which we are both, gathered together. But of course, because, humans, we tend to forget a lot of things. And so most of the time they don't link to it. And when we start dialoguing about it, talking, that they remember that, wow, this is not a new thing. It is just picking from the memory, picking from the image that we have stored in our archive as a human.
As they often say, memory is short.
Yeah, of course. We make it short.
This is true. we have temporary amnesia every now and again. Last year, I think a year, yes, about last year, you were arrested during a performance.
No, it wasn't during, it was after.
After a performance.
Yeah.
And I mean, social media was going, insane over that situation. And I've read so many stories about it. What happened that day and what was that performance about?
Yeah, well, actually, what happened that day was, it was a performance that I called Aragamago, We Rid This Land of Terrorism. And if I may explain, the word Aragamago itself is to me, using it symbolically to represent the feminine energy, the power of the women, And I was trying to say that the issue of terrorism, it is only women that can get rid of it. So what actually happened in Ejigbo, we have a smaller market, which is called Obamorufo Ojola International Market. And in this market, there was a story that 3 women were caught stealing pepper, and the pepper worth of 50 naira. And they were caught by special security outfit that the king employed to work in the market to collect tolls for him. It's kind of a local tolls, which unauthorized toll. So they were there, and they alleged that 3 women stole pepper. They arrested them, stripped them naked. While they stripped them naked, and they went prepared grounded pepper, like a powdered pepper, and they got wine, pour the wine on the pepper, stir it together, and insert this pepper in the vagina of these women. So the story, the incident happened. They concealed it for a whole year. Nobody knew, and suddenly it appeared in the social media. People were sharing it, and when I saw the video, I couldn't believe it happened in my own home and on my own family land. I was like, my God, what was this? When? I couldn't control myself. I lost my head. I was annoyed. I couldn't control myself. And, just like I said, I have to research. I have to search. I was asking questions. And that was when we got to know. Of course, at that time, it was in the public. The police were denying it. They said it wasn't happen. The local governments denied it. The king denied it. And later on, we got to know it was true. And because it happened in my own land, in my own family land, which the king also belonged, we decided, asking questions. I went to the king to ask questions with me and some other 4 people. He never wanted to see us. He said, no, he doesn't want to. I saw him. He was sitting down ahead, and when I entered the palace, and when he saw me, he is my uncle. He know me. It's not about somebody you don't know. So you already knew, because we have already discussing it, because I have been moving in the family, asking elders what happened. Because, we have a standard traditions that women, you don't torment women, and it becomes worse when it's in the public place like market. And it's an abomination. If you do that, there is a sacrifice which the king must do. And one of the sacrifices is the king must have, like the traditional system. The king has we say Otun and Osi. So if things like this happen, the Otun must carry the sacrifice naked. And if the king does not have, doesn't have Otun, that the king himself must carry that sacrifice naked. So he understood that somebody like me, I am from the royal family. Someone like me will be demanding is he has to do the sacrifice because it's the abomination have a kind of consequence on the indigenous people and the residents, you know. So we were talking about that. He said he doesn't want to listen to us. And we tried press beyond, he doesn't want to listen. And I said, okay, as an artist, I know what I do to open up this kind of a discussion in the public space. Then I designed that performance, you know, to have like kind of a processional, and I borrowed heavily from the tradition. The colors, the imagery, and everything that I choose are from the tradition itself. Even the place where we started from the tradition, it was done in January 14th, you know, and it was started in the place we call Ojiolua, very close to the shrine called Ojiolua. And the shrine was like the protection of the society into the community at the only time when you are coming like a kind of a border, when you are coming into the community with the evil plans or the evil mind, when you get to that point, you won't be able to move further. You become like kind of immobile. Your hands and everything will be paralyzed at that point. So I started the performance there, and what I did was to have in the performance consists of 5 performers, and most of them are not. I decided to talk to the chief priest of the community to make him to be part of it. So if he was there, and the 3 other persons with me, and I prepared a rebeji, you know, these twins sculpture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I prepared them, the pairs, 12 pairs to represent each of the time. That is 12 hours, you know. And we had a 3 calabash, and I prepared something like a prayer. And the prayer was supposed to be offered to the gods, to the Irumoles. So in this prayer, I enumerated the instances of terrorism, which I and some other few people see that the king himself is doing. Because when you look at that action, I wasn't looking at those who did it. I was looking at the process. The king employed people there. For what? They are not police. Why must the king put people there? Why? In the market. The action was that to scare some of us that we are the family members. Because even the market itself is questionable, because some of us were questioning him. We have the family marked some land for the market, which the king and some people sold, you know. And in order to cover that, he created that kind of a market, which is under power line, which is, you know, if we are in an ideal society, it's not supposed to be. You are not supposed to be working under high tension,
Cables, yes.
because it's dangerous.
So tell us, after the performance, what happened?
You know, after the performance, they started arresting us. I was the only one that was arrested that was part of the performance, but the others are audience, and those who were not even there, you know. So the following day, the performance was done January 14th. On the January 15th, early in the morning, by 5 a.m., they arrested Fatai Oluwa, who was just a simple audience, you know. And on the 18th, I was arrested along with other four people.
Where were you guys taken to?
Yeah, well, initially I was taken to the police station. I was there overnight, and then the following morning, the following morning, morning in the afternoon, we were taken to the court, and then we were remanded in the Kirikiri.
And what were you were charged on? What?
We were charged on 7 criminal charges. One of it was that we committed felony to disturb the peace of the community. The second one was we attempted to kill the king. And also we operate a secret society, which is the name of the title of the performance,
Yeah.
Aragamago.
Yes.
And then there's one that we are funding the secret society.
Oh, wow.
Then there's just 7 of them.
So how were you released? Who bailed you? What happened?
In a case like that, the judge set the bail condition, and then we were able to fulfill, my people were able to fulfill the bail condition, and were released after 3 days. But Fatai Oluwa, who was first arrested, was released, I think, after 7 days, you know, because they couldn't fulfill the bail condition.
Yeah.
So we fulfilled the condition, and we were released. then we have to start the 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 trial. You know,
So you,
we
did
went
you?
to treat
So you
trial.
went to trial?
Yeah, for about 6 months.
But what, I mean, the arrest, was it constitutional? Were they in any? Did they have any case at all? When
Well, of course, they say they have case. They said they have. They said we're trying to force ourselves that we throw bottles with machete, with guns. We came to the palace, you know. So, but unfortunately, they couldn't prove that. We were in the process in the case when the judge said he wanted to settle the matter using the traditional system of amicable deal. But my question at that time was, do you settle a criminal offense amicably? That is the question that nobody have ever resolved, to me.
But I mean, going through all of that, do you ever have any moments where you just feel like I'm tired? Your work is deeply embedded with your activism. Your activism is also your work, and if your work is a source of resistance, and you're also being persecuted for that, do you ever have any moments where you're thinking, I'm tired, I'm done, and it's not changing anything?
Well, that's going to be ridiculous. It's like if I said I'm tired now, it's like I'm saying I'm tired of life. It's a process of life. You must have to talk because you have voice to talk. My voice artistically is my work. So if I said I'm tired, it's like I said I want to seal my mouth throughout my life. It's not possible. We know that we are living in a world where there will be people who wouldn't want you to survive, wouldn't want you to live. They want to use the power. And that's what the issue of human rights come. You have to give humans have their own rights. So if you are more powerful than this person, you have to let this person survive, So that is the issue of living. It's about life. Performance self is about life. That's what they call life arts. So I wouldn't get tired, even though if I get to prison several times, 100 times, I will be saying the same thing that I would say even when I'm free, I'm in anything, anytime. I have to say it because that's what makes me human.
You're also a sculptor. You're a sculptor, and but your performance work seems to have eclipsed your sculpture to a lot of people who they know you more as a performance artist. But sculpture is also a huge part of your performance because whether it's the costume, whether it's creating all the things that go with it, I want to know that sort of intersection between your sculpture and performance art. For you.
Firstly, I am a living sculpture. Sculpture is a language of form, and the form in the round. It's a language of form. So I am a living sculpture. It's just like positioning my body in a sculptural form in a performance and make it the life movement into it. So it's the same thing. It's an extension of sculpture. Performance is an extension. It's a larger part extension of sculpture, which make it more organic, and make it more ephemeral compared to the ordinary one that is like an intangible, like you said, an inanimate object that is like a physical that is there, which you can see. So performance is more like a living sculpture that is ephemeral, that has a lifespan that it can hang and also go back into the memory and dwell permanently in the memory of the audience or even also the artist.
You also were awarded the Prince Clause Award. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But how does it feel being recognized outside of your home for your contribution to development and community with your art, and as opposed to at home where, it might not be as recognized?
Yeah, well, I feel proud. I feel proud of my culture because that achievement wasn't made by me. It was made by my forefathers who have, developed an advanced civilization that the British came and destroyed. I was only looking back and tapping into that. And so I will give credit to them that it is my culture that actually gave me that achievement, So, but to me, it is this struggle of post-colonialism where as a nation, we haven't really realized who we are. We haven't really. We are still living in the shadows of colonialism. And so that is just the problem. If I'm not recognized in Nigeria, it is the problem, because the problem of colonialism, where we don't see good things in us, in ourselves. You could imagine the last time that the president plagiarized the speech of one of the American presidents. It is because we don't look at ourselves and say we have a lot of enormous resources that we have to develop. So that is the problem. So to me, I feel proud of my culture. I feel proud of who I am. I feel proud of this country. I feel proud that we have a lot of. And it become really more heightened when last year, even this year, there is a celebration of Dadaism, 100 years of Dadaism in Europe. And when you look at the movement, the establishment of Dadaism is the achievements of African arts, but which here, nobody celebrates it. So to me, it's a great achievement, and I feel so happy who I am. I feel happy of my people. I feel so happy, and that's why I keep telling people that we need to go back and tap from these resources that is lying there, which people do not tap into it.
What created it?
Wow. Well, it's the Egungun.
Okay.
Because it's a tradition, and I wish I am the one that started it. Yeah, because it has enormous philosophy. It has enormous philosophy into it.
So to give, because it's very enshrined in a lot that people don't know about. So can you just tell me very briefly what some of those things are?
You know, a Google in itself is, like I said, is a tradition, and people see it as more religious. But if you look at it from artistic practice, when you want to go into the Google, first of all, you have to align yourself into the unknown. And the unknown first starts from who you are. You must have to know your energy. You must have to know whether you have the strength to do it or you don't have the strength to do it. Then you must have to know the energy of the environment. That is the most important thing. The environment has its own energy.
So it's a very cosmic experience.
Yeah, of course. Cosmic, and also goes beyond cosmic, you know. Also because it's like kind of an embrace between the society, between the physical and the spiritual. That's what makes it more different. So that's what I wish I am the one that even started it. Wow, this is very, very big. But of course, I would say Marina Abramovich.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I know this is political, people say, oh, but Marina Abramovich, because she has done a lot. Of course, there's a lot of crisis, a lot of beer, but she is wonderful. Mm. Coconuts.
Why?
Yeah, because there's a lot of mystery. Because I wonder how the inside of the water got in there, and it is whitish. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Fish.
Why?
Yeah, because fish constantly living in the water, and in water is the most important element in life.
Okay.
So I wish I am fish that I swim in the water most of the time, and as an artist.
If you weren't an artist, is there any other job you'd like to do for a day?
Well, babysitter. Yeah, because I like babies. I like talking to them, and I try and draw like them, so that when I keep put a pencil and we'll be drawing together. You know, I'm going to be biased because we have these songs in my community, which they say, "O re lo re o, o re ro ro le jibo, ile bi so gbe ti wa o, ejibo re lo ti bo." So that is that song that every time I remember it, it reminds me of the indigenous people of Ejibo and the philosophy which they say Ejibo Mekun, that we are the tigers, right? And when you look at the quality of tigers, it's make me. And that's exactly that is the song that I usually want to sing to myself every day. Because it reminds me that I shouldn't dance the image of that song. Mm. That I wasn't born a woman. Well, they have to constantly know who they are and be themselves. It is always changing the world. It's changing the world. You're fantastic.
Thank you so much, Jelili Atiku.
Thank you so much.
High fives. And on that note, thank you so much to our guest, Jelili Atiku, for gracing us with his presence today at the Culture Diaries studio. Big shout out to Source Productions for loading us their wonderful, wonderful space. Don't forget you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you give us a thumbs up as well. And all the information you need to know about our social media handles are at the bottom of the screen. Until next time, don't forget, art is life. See you guys.